Our next guest fled Cuba with his parents during Fidel Castro's reign, and now he's warning about the dangerous ideology in a book called BLM, The Making of a New Marxist Revolution. Journalist Mike Gonzalez is a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and he joins us now. Mike, welcome to Fox and Friends. I don't know anyone who has done as deep a dive into BLM, into its roots and its funding and its global reach. Tell me why we should be worried about how BLM has really made such a huge cultural inroads into America.
Hi, Rachel. Yes. Look, I wrote my book because BLM really wants to end the means by which we can improve our lives, whether we're black, white, any color. The family, the free markets, and the legal system that protects all of us. I wanted to shed a spotlight on this because the journalists would not shed, they had shut off that spotlight. They were only talking about the concept, which is beautiful. I say Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter to me. I don't have to say all lives matter. It's important to affirm that Black Lives Matter. What's important is to talk about the organizations and their founders, and they're Marxists, and they represent a threat to our way of life. They want to end the American experiment today, this minute.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just seems like some of these kids that I talked to, for example, in Miami when I was there this summer, they were surprised that BLM, came out in support of the communist dictators. And so, the messaging that young people in particular are getting about BLM is one of, racial harmony, even though we know they're burning stuff up. But nonetheless, they don't seem to really understand that they want to overthrow our free market free enterprise system, and that they want to introduce communism. Am I correct about that?
They say that. Alicia Garza says that free markets are racist, which is obviously a falsehood. Free markets are colorblind. If you invent a better mousetrap, you're going to make money no matter what your color is. Patrisse Cullors says that she is a trained Marxist, and indeed she is, because she was trained by Eric Mann. And she says, by the way, that she does not use the word communist because communism has gotten bad rap. Yeah. Of course communism has gotten bad rap. It deserves a bad rap. And BLM, it even has a foreign policy. And I'm talking about the Black Lives Matter's Global Network Foundation, the main organization. When you Google it, Google takes you there, to BLM-GNF, not to a movement, not to a beautiful concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate you shedding light on where our media has decided to turn its back on it. Speaking of turning their back, I've heard of, when they say, talk to the hand. Well, Joe Biden's now saying talk to the back. Every time he gets a question that is uncomfortable for him, he just kind of turns around and shuffles off the stage.
Thank you very much. May God protect our troops. Thank you all so very much.
Can you tell parents that?
Thank you very much.
Mike, so many problems, so many questions to ask our commander-in-chief, and he just walks away.
Well, maybe he has no answer for the problems he has created from Afghanistan with that embarrassing withdrawal to the open borders, to the supply chain issues. Look, it is baffling to me why Biden has bent over to the left, to the demands of the left. From the beginning, the very first thing he did in office was sign his executive order on equity, which mentioned equity 21 times and equality not once. It got rid of Trump's executive order banning the use of CRT in the federal workforce, and the 76 Commission of which I was a member. Those last two, by the way, were demands of Black Lives Matter. So he has, from the beginning, been to the demands of the far left. Which is very small, by the way. It is baffling why he does that.
Yeah, well, Fidel Castro also said that he was not a communist when he got elected, and I believe that probably Joe Biden was not telling the truth when he said I'm not a socialist during the campaign as well. I mean, so he's certainly governing that way. Mike, it's always great to see you. I really recommend your book, BLM. It's the deep dive you always wanted on this organization that our media does not want to report on. Thank you, Mike.